Hello everyone, welcome to the stream Many Things. My name is Wheeler, I'm your host for tonight. Before we get started with this video, a few quick things to get out of the way. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, like this video if you like the content, and leave a comment below. It really helps us out. We're only 58 subscribers away from getting our own branded URL, so I'd really appreciate it if you could do that. But other than that, yeah, a bunch of things will be in the description for you to check out as well, including our website. That has just come up where I sell some of the minis that we paint on stream, all of our socials, and our Discord server as well. So if you'd like to check us out more, be sure to check those out, and they'll be in the description below. But for today, we are going to be unboxing another brick of Wizkids Minis, specifically the newest set that just came out. Well, bam! Mordenkainen Presents Monsters of the Multiverse. Really excited for this. This is kind of just filling out the rest of the monster menagerie. So, yeah, stick around. We'll be opening each and every one of these boxes for you and giving our honest review on what the paint jobs are like. And if you stick around to the end, we'll be doing the same thing that we always do. But thank you guys for coming in, and I hope you enjoy this next episode of Brick by Brick. So as I said before, this is a set that's kind of expanding on the minis that we already have for the monster manual, and kind of giving us new minis that we've been hoping and waiting for, at least those of us who use minis at the table. What I'm going to do is what I do every time we do this, open them in a random order, except that the heaviest boxes are saved for last, because usually that means there's a chunkier mini in it, and I'm always excited for that. We're gonna see if our luck continues on whether or not we get 46 out of 46 or however many minis are in the set. I think it's around that usually. And then at the end, we're gonna do our favorite paint job, least favorite paint job, most useful, least useful, and then kind of just my favorite mini overall of what we find. So be sure to stick around to the end to see that. But without further ado, we're going to go ahead and hop into it. I just like opening them up. You'll see the minis because I'll be doing a little like 15-second video of it on a rotator so you can see it well. But I'm also going to play some music because why not? I'm just going to have a little bit of music in the background. Make this a little bit more fun. So we're going to open up our first box here. See what we get. Might be a little bit loud, so I apologize in advance if you're listening on headphones. And then what we do is we do the smallest minis in the box, and then do the large last. So we're going to go ahead and get started with box one. I'm going to go ahead and get this out of there. That way I can just get started with it. All right, here we go. First mini up. First mini up is going to be number 11 of 50, which is the Duergar Soulblade. I've been more and more happy with Duergar coming out because I think they're an underutilized race in D&D. This one is no exception. It's a relatively simple paint job, but honestly, it looks really, really cool. I'm liking the detail on the belt buckle, not bleeding into other things. I like the translucent plastic kind of with the soul blade energy, and this is a great addition for any campaign that's delving into the Underdark at any time. And, you know, if you have a character who's playing a soul knife rogue that's a Duergar, you can use this as a mini for that as well. So I really do like this. I think, as I've said in other brick by brick videos, things are just getting better and on their way up, and this is no difference. So yeah, this is number 11 of 50, the Duergar Soulblade. That's our first mini of the box. So far so good. All right, second small mini of this set is number 3 of 50, the Wretched Sorrowsworn. So the Sorrowsworn are actually pretty cool. I've enjoyed using them. I've seen them used in big campaigns that are on Twitch, i.e. Critical Role and things like that. This is one of the lesser of the Sorrowsworn, and it looks really good. The eyes on it are actually pretty decent. It's a pretty simple paint job. It's like Otyugh brown, but the mouth is pretty cool. It's got like rows of teeth on it that are just like dots of paint, but it still looks pretty good. You know, it's very easy to screw up simple minis by trying too hard, but I thoroughly, you know, I like this mini. I'm glad that I have one in my collection now. And yeah, this is pretty cool. I'm glad that, like I said, they're expanding minis for the Monster Manual and Volos, and now Mordenkainen Presents Monsters of the Multiverse, since Volos and Tome of Foes is technically discontinued in Legacy. It's really cool to have these creatures shown now. So it's number 3 of 50, the Wretched Sorrowsworn. All right, so last medium small of this box is, ironically, another Sorrowsworn, but this is 19 of 50 Lost Sorrowsworn. All of the Sorrowsworn have different abilities and different aspects about them that are very interesting. The paint job on this one is very similar to the paint job on the Wretched one, which is, I think, good consistency across a specific monster type. I don't remember if I used one of these in my games before, but they're really good for horror games. I think this one specifically was used in Critical Role Campaign 2. And I mean, again, it's very easy to screw up simple minis, but this looks pretty good. The paint job on it is rather nice. There's some shade on it, which like actually shows some of the details of the mini itself. It's pretty one-dimensional in its color scheme, but again, I would rather have something look like this than look like, say, the zombie kobold that we had from one of our other videos, or that one creature from the last one that we did that was just not very good. But this, so far, I'm pretty pleased with how these have been done. Again, I'm happy to have something like this in my armoire, and kind of hopefully I can use it someday. So that's number 19 of 50, the Lost Sorrowsworn. We may get repeats, don't know, because we're on box 1. We got a lot more to go, but the first large of the set or brick that we've got is number 30 of 50, the Howler. Now, I don't know too much about these creatures, other than they obviously howl, thus the name. I think they're fiendish in nature, but I'm not 100% certain. But it's just kind of like a grotesque dog thing. Like, if you wanted to use it for anything of that sort, it could be used for that. The paint job on it is pretty decent. The shading and the dry brushing that's very light on here is actually very nice. I think dry brushing, and if you've watched any of our streams where I've been mini painting, you'll know that dry brushing is one of my favorite things on this planet. So, yeah, I know that I'll probably get use out of this because I love using minis at the table. And even if I don't, if anyone's running games at my place, they're more than welcome to use any of the minis that are in my my armoire and repertoire. So, yeah, gorgeous mini. Probably a few things I would do to make it just a little bit better, but honestly, better than most of the stuff from the past, which is good. That's what you want. As things get better and, costs are going up and things like that, you want the quality of product to be higher. And I think they've definitely achieved that with the recent sets. So, that is the Howler, which is 30 out of 50. All right. On to box 2. Now, I guess there are 50 minis in this set. I don't know all of them. Obviously, there are some on the box itself. This is just, I bought a brick. So this isn't like a official Wizkids sanctioned video. That's why I'm giving my honest review about things. Who knows? Hopefully in the future, maybe I'll get a sponsorship by them or someone. But it's just a blind brick. It's not like they're sending me the best product out of the best product to review. So we're gonna go ahead and get into box number 2. Already is looking pretty good. This one has 4 small minis, but I think part of that is because there is one of them that is connected to the large one, which hopefully doesn't give too much away. Sorry if this is loud. Ooh. It's always fun getting those out. I'm trying to do better at making sure that I keep things clean while I'm doing it, so that way I don't have to clean up as much on the end. All right, stepping into our first small of this box, small medium. So for those of you who are confused by what I'm saying, you usually get 3 to 4 small to medium creatures and then 1 large or huge creature in a box, depending on the set. So this is going to be our first, starting off just kind of like the last one, not a repeat, but a similar one. Number 4 of 50, we just have a standard Dwergar. And it looks pretty good. I probably would have added a bit of shade to the armor, just to kind of bring out the shadow a little bit more. But other than that, I would say it's a pretty good mini. There's very faint lines of like eyebrows, and the eyes are not overdone. They're like simple dots, and they look good. The staff looks pretty good. Yeah, the only thing I can say is that I would probably have added a differentiation of color with the leather, which I've had issue with painting minis. So I understand why it's not always the easiest thing to do. However, that would be my one thing about this one, because other than that, it's actually a pretty well painted mini. There's some overlap on the head to the hair of that purple tone skin that they have, but all in all, not bad. Pretty good mini, and again, great to have if you're doing an Underdark campaign or anything that has Dwergar in it, because you know it's not always the easiest thing to find Dwergar. You can get dwarf minis and kind of paint them like Dwergar, but having actual Dwergar minis is pretty great. So that's number 4 of 50, the bog standard Dwergar. All right, on to numero 2 of this box, and I think a lot of the Mordenkainen's is a lot of the creatures that haven't gotten a lot of the limelight, specifically because they are based in the Underdark. So like Drow, Dwergar, Fire Newts, things like of that sort are kind of being shown more of, and getting more minis made of them. So with that being said, though, we've got number 16 of 50, just an orc. And this is actually a really cool and well-painted orc. The paint job is pretty standard. There's a lot of black, some light blue, a bandit mask, a dagger. It's kind of just showing a rogue orc, but it's a really good mini. I think you could use it really for anything. You could, because of the skin tone that they chose to go with on this. And I mean, here's the reality: you can have whatever skin tone you want in a character. It's a fantasy game, so literally make whatever character you want to. I have a lot of people come up and ask me when they play games with me, can I do this? Can I do that? And I'm like, absolutely. We'll just have to figure out how that works. So an orc with light blue skin or gray skin or green skin, it doesn't matter. With normal skin tone, like white or black or suntanned, anything like that, you can use whatever you want. The limit is your imagination. So, but I do like this mini. I think one of the things I've been happy about is the dynamicism, and you'd hear me use that word a lot. I don't even know if it is a word, of how the minis are formed on the base. So instead of just having like I am a creature, you have a lot of like movement that comes with the mini, and I think this is one of those spaces where it does a lot for it. You have like the cape moving back, and you have the arm extended, which shows you that it just moved the cape back and kind of exposed the fact that it has all of these weapons on it. And the cool thing is you can see where there's a weapon that's not drawn on it versus the other side where there's a sheath that is empty and it has the dagger in its hand. So it's a really cool dynamic mini that I'm happy with, and I think you could use for really any creature or character that you'd like to. But that is number 16 of 50, the Orc. All right, the last technically small medium of this box, because like I said, the last one I think has to do with the large of the set. So I'm also going to turn down the music just slightly so it doesn't overpower me speaking. But we have the most common of this box set, number 1 of 50, the Bugbear. And quite honestly, this is a very, very good paint job. The only thing that I would have done differently is maybe put a bit of shade on his back to kind of help all of those little fur lines that you can't really see very like right off the bat, kind of pop a little bit more. But the Morningstar is gorgeous. The armor is spiky and like painted correctly. There's not too much overlap with some of the paint. You can kind of see the teeth and a lot of the individual pieces of what's going on his front, with the skull kind of attached to some rope and some like bone pieces. Bugbears are a great creature to throw at parties, a great character option if you so choose to do that. I think there's a lot that can be done with a lot of the creatures that we have come to understand as basic enemies of D&D parties, and using them more for just fun roleplay experiences. There's a lot of creatures in my world that are normally viewed as what would be an enemy to some D&D groups, but I just like using them as everyday folk because that's kind of what they are. They're just everyday folk. Everyone's trying to survive, and some people do it differently than others. So, but yeah, I'm really happy with this. The paint job's amazing on it, and that's the most common. So 1 of 50, the Bugbear. All right, so I think this is a twofer. I have to double check. Yes. Okay. So these I will do separately, just because they technically are separate. But we have number 29 of 50, the Fire Newt. Now, I don't use Fire Newts a lot. I think they're an underused creature in D&D, and partially because I don't know of any D&D group that's going to go to the elemental plane of fire near a volcano or a wasteland that would have these creatures in it. But they're cool nonetheless. The paint job on it is absolutely phenomenal. I think it looks crazy. I probably will have it pushed down. Oh no, that's where it stops. So the top comes off, which is something that they've started doing with a lot of their creatures. And you can put it on the large of the set, which I will get to in a second. But I think it looks really cool. I like it. I love Fire Newts as an idea, and I really want to use them more, so I'm glad I have some minis for them. But that's 29 of 50, which is just the Fire Newt. Now, 28 of 50, which is the large for this set, is a Giant Strider, which is a creature that is ridden by Fire Newts. So I'll show it with itself if I can get this top piece off. Goodness, I mean, I'm glad they made it so that it's nearly impossible to get off, but it is a little annoying. So this is really cool, but it comes as just by itself. So if you want to use it as a creature by itself, you can. However, you can use it in tandem with the mini prior, and have the Fire Newt ride the Giant Strider. I think that it is one of my favorite things that has been done with minis recently, is these like modular pieces. Obviously, for those of you who've been using Sprue Miniatures for a very long time, this is not novel or new. You can interchange parts pretty easily. But I like the fact that they've started to add this into sets that you can buy and buy minis of. The paint job is pretty good. Obviously I'm always as someone who paints minis, I'm a bit of a stickler on things. I would like to see just a little bit of dry brushing that kind of makes the scales pop a little bit more. But as a mini that can just be used at the table, it's definitely tabletop ready, which I think is the point of buying these. I love the fact that you can like take off pieces and put pieces on and make it so that it's just that creature. So like, say your party is like, I'm going to dismount this guy, and they do it. You can be like, cool. Now you can take the piece off, put it on the original mini that the fire newt was, have that like lying prone on the ground, and then have the creature just be the creature kind of still running. So it's a really, really cool mini. And like I said, I'll have a video of it by itself and it with the rider on it. But that is number 28 and technically 29 of 50, the fire newt and the giant strider. So really cool mini. But that'll do it for box number 2. On to box number 3. Thank you guys for sticking around and watching this. I really appreciate it. The more views that it gets, the more happy I am to do reviews like this. Obviously, I'm not getting them out as quickly as some other people are who get their stuff from Wizkids directly. But I will be giving you the most honest review that I can as quickly as possible. So I appreciate you guys supporting me. And I hope that you guys enjoy these, because I know I do. I like buying minis, and I like having more minis to put in my repertoire and my armoire. So, all right, on to box number 3. Ooh, this is... My buddy Chris would love the large of this box, but that's not what we're focusing on right now. We're going to do the small mediums. Oh, pick up a little bit. Keep things tidy. All right, the first one we're going to do is this one. So the first small of this box is number 6 of 50, which is the chitin. I think I'm saying that right. They are kind of a half spider, half humanoid folk, kind of like Driders, but worse. And are often found in the Underdark, as is common with most of the creatures in this box set. Paint job is decent. I like it. I think it looks cool. I love, like I said, the dynamicism of how the mini is moving. It shows kind of action, and it kind of, in my opinion, it kind of adds immersion when you're at the table and you're being like, yeah, this creature is fighting this creature. It doesn't look like that when it's just standing up straight, but the fact that it has kind of the movement of like, I'm coming at you, is pretty cool. Yeah, I don't have too much else to say about this. I think they did another one of these or another creature like this in a set recently that I bought. Not within the past year, but before that. But it's always fun, again, to have more creatures like this. So there's number 6 of 50, the chitin, which I might be butchering. All right, on to the second medium/small of this box. No dupes yet, which is good. We'll see how long that lasts. All right, we've got number 13 of 50, which is a Rudderkin. I think this is a fiend in nature as well. I thought when I saw this it was a Sorrowsworn, a different one, but it is not. Rudderkin are like very grotesque body horror creatures. And that is developed pretty well in the mini itself. The intestines look like they're wrapped around as like a belt. And it looks grotesque. It's a really well done job. And again, I think one of the things that people take for granted too often is that the simplest paint jobs often can be the easiest to mess up. And this is something that doesn't. There's a good shade on it that shows kind of the depth of all of these grotesque pieces. It is very colored around the same as the Sorrowsworn, that kind of Otiug brown, which I think is just it's a very like khaki brown. But there's like a mouth on the arm that you can kind of see the teeth and the lips of that looks really cool. The teeth on the actual mouth of the creature is they're really well done. The eyes are well done as well. Really, all in all, a great paint job and a cool mini. I mean, again, I don't know when or if I'll use things like this, but now that I have a mini of it, I can plan an encounter with it. It's the beauty of buying minis. You get one and you're like, I'm going to make an encounter about this. So that's number 13 of 50, the Rudderkin. All right, our last medium / small of the box number 3, is a pretty cool one. And it is number 18 of 50, the green Abishai. Now, Abishai are like draconic, dragonborn, draconian demons. They mostly are found in or around the layer of Tiamat in the first layer of Hell, or wherever Tiamat resides in your game. They are fiendish in nature, and they have a pretty powerful punch to them. The green one specifically, I don't know the challenge ratings. I know they change based off of the color, much like how things change based off of the color for dragons of any kind. But the paint job's pretty well done. I like the contrast of the yellow and the light green. I am colorblind in those, so I don't know if I'm seeing this probably as well as you are on the screen. But it looks pretty good. The black accents look really nice. It's not overdone to a point where it looks like it wasn't taken care of. The sword on the side is actually relatively well done. And I mean, a beautifully tabletop ready mini. There are a few pieces I would probably have put a little bit more green on just to kind of make it match. The wings themselves kind of, while the contrast is there, it is a little glaring. But overall, a pretty cool mini, and one that I am excited to use in the future for a one-shot or for campaigns that I run. So that's number 18 of 50, the green Abishai. All right, we are now on to the large of box 3. And I said that my friend Chris would enjoy this, and that's because he loves dinosaurs, which, hint, hint, it is technically a dinosaur. We've got number 32 of 50, the Quetzalcoatlus. I said that completely wrong. The Quetzalcoatlus. Coatlus. Tell me how I should pronounce it in the comments, because I'm not very good at it. It's a dinosaur. It is a miniature dinosaur, and I know like they released the T-Rex a few sets ago. I think in Fangs and Talons we got a few T-Rexes. But it's always fun to have minis for this, because you really never know. You never know when your campaign might make you come across one of these creatures. You see one of them and you're like friends with someone, or one of your party members can cast polymorph on himself, and technically you can turn yourself into a Quetzalcoatlus. I think I said that right. So it's always good to have minis like this in your collection. The paint job on it is actually pretty good. I love dry brushing. I think it adds so much texture to a model that just kind of makes up for a lot of mistakes that you might have. The beak itself is actually fairly well done. The eyes are very, very well done. The mouth itself, the tongue is a different color, and you can actually see that it has a tongue, which is really cool. Kind of looks like a giraffe, but with wings. A winged giraffe. But a really cool mini. Again, you never know what you can do with minis like this, but if you throw one in your game and you have a party member who can cast polymorph, it's good to have the mini for. So that is number 32 of 50, Quetzalcoatlus. That's what I'm going to say. I hope that's correct. All right, that is it for box number 3. We're on to box number 4. Almost halfway done with the brick already. I've only been doing this for 25 minutes or so. Hope you guys are enjoying. Hope you guys have liked what you've seen so far. I know I have. Again, it just kind of has been expanding a lot of the things that I don't have in my miniature collection. But yeah. All right, box number 4 looks to not disappoint. The large in this set is something that I wish I had had a long time ago. Sorry. But I'm glad that I have now. I feel like that's the thing with minis, is always being like, oh, I wish I had this yesterday when I was playing D&D and I needed it. But alas. All right. Starting with the smalls and mediums, the first one of our set is number 2 of 50, the Changeling. Now, Changelings have been getting a lot of love recently because of certain prominent people in the TTRPG sphere playing as them. Looking at you, Sam Regal. But they're a really cool race to play as. Their ability to kind of morph their appearance to look like anything they want to makes them a really fun character to play as a rogue, a bard as well. Anything of that sort is great. I love most of the paint job on this. I like the detail on the cloak itself. I think it looks incredible. The shirt is just kind of very blobby and white, and I kind of wish it was a little bit more. But it's still a gorgeous mini. They're doing a lot of black, which is smart move, especially when you're trying to limit how a miniature can look. Black is a great color to just kind of, one, not have to worry too much about the detail work of certain things, but it also just kind of looks cool. You know, black on minis looks very, very good. And again, there's not much, but there's still a slight dynamic aspect to the way that it's shaped, and I honestly love it. Great mini to use as a changeling character that you might play as, or if you're doing a Sailor Moon tuxedo mask, you could just add a little hat. Shout out to Robbie Damon, who I didn't realize voiced Tuxedo Mask in the American dubs. Crazy. I know you guys can get on me for not knowing that. But number 2 of 50, the Changeling. Cool mini. All right. We'll do this one next. It's small. I think I know what this is. And yeah, I do. That's crazy. I didn't think that they were going to give us minis for this. Another crazy creature. 12 of 50, the Zvart. Zvarts are interesting. I haven't read too much up on their lore, but they are very, very interesting creatures. And this mini does them justice for what they look like. The detail work on it is pretty decent. The paint job is pretty good. I'm not upset with it. I think that it gets the point across. And I would probably want a few more of these, unless I'm just giving the party like a Zvart NPC that kind of is a guide or helps them along their path. Because one of them is not going to do too much damage to a party. But nonetheless, it's still a pretty cool mini to have. And a good thing to add to the repertoire. So that's number 12 of 50, the Zvart. They're really pulling out the stops for some of these names. I'm having trouble with some of them, but that's to be expected. All right. The next one is a cool one, which I know I say that about all of them, but oh well. Number 23 of 50, the Drow Arachnomancer. This is probably the first mini that I am not super stoked about the paint job. And I think it's because there's just a lot of like gray brown that kind of just looks like the plastic that I and many other people print minis with. I think that it's cool. I would have wished for a little bit of like magic effect on the body. So like maybe in one of the hands having like a clear like flame or something, like a purplish flame, just to add some texture and color to it, because it's very one-dimensional. The mouth is done very well. I can't tell if the eyes are done well or not. It looks like they're done relatively well. The hair is done well. they're staying in the lines a lot better with this set compared to other ones. But a really cool Drow mini to have. Again, you can never have enough of really any character race or monster or creature. And this is no exception. I'm glad that I have another one, not an Arachnomancer, but another Drow. I've got quite a few, so now I could make like an anti-party that's just a bunch of Drow that go against the party. But who knows? I'll use it for something. And that's number 23 of 50, the Drow Arachnomancer. Really a lot of Drow coming up in my home game right now. But that's beside the point. If you want to go hear about that, you can join our Discord server. All right, the large of this box and officially our halfway point through this brick. We have one of my favorite fiends to use, number 35 of 50, the Shusuva. These are like demonkin of Yinogu, on par with Gnolls, but a little bit more deadly. A pretty nasty pincer. No, pincer's not the word. God, what am I thinking of? It's the stinger. That's what it is. Pretty gnarly stinger on its tail that does a massive amount of poison damage. This is a creature that has come up a few times in my campaign. I dulled it down to begin with and then ramped it back up when they met it again. But the paint job on it is pretty decent. I love the... I wish there was a little bit more of that like greenish yellow. That's something that if you look at the artwork in, I think it's in the Monster Manual, it has like a glowing kind of greenish sickly belly. And it's kind of trying to pull that through a little bit. And I appreciate the effort that they put into it. Just wish it was a little bit more vibrant. But the fur looks incredible. I love the red, like red and white or gray looks really great together. The eyes are pretty well done. The teeth and the mouth are pretty well done as well. Yeah, a really cool mini. Again, I wish I would have had it a while ago, but I'm glad that I have it now. And just really cool. And I'll probably pull these back in at some point. I mean, you could, Out of the Abyss, anytime you're doing a travel into Avernus, for like the front lines of the Blood War, you could have like one of these split off and fight the party, like literally anything like that. It could be used for. So great mini, and I'm glad I have one now. Number 35 of 50, the Shisuva. All right, we are on to box numero 5. 5? I think that's right. Someone yell at me if it's not. But if you guys have stuck around, let me know what you think so far. I think so far it's been a pretty good brick. No dupes yet, which means that this box will probably have some in it. But good, yeah, great mini so far at the halfway point. I'm not upset about it. Happy to have the minis that I have. So, all right, box numero 5. Oh, I think I know what this one is. Oops. Like I said, first dupe. We'll get that one out of the way first. Sorry for the sound. Oh, man. So happy I got a mini of that. Not that I can use it, but... Alright, first duplicate of the set. Not a bad duplicate to get. But we're just going to go through it real quick. Ironically, it is the most common of the set. So number 1 of 50, the Bugbear. Everything I said before is reiterated in this one. This one actually has a little bit of shade on the back, which I like. But great mini. I think it looks really, really cool. Really shows the gnarliness of Bugbears very well. So first dupe, 1 of 50, the Bugbear. And we'll put that back next to the other Bugbear. The other Bugbear, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? The other Bugbear, yeah. The other Bugbear. Sorry. Alright. Well, if he'll come out of the thing. So, this one's actually pretty cool. this is a mini that's based off of artwork that was done for the Adventures in the Forgotten Realm set of Magic. This is number 43 of 50, the Bard. So I think it's called the Wandering Troubadour card in the Adventures in the Forgotten Realm set of Magic. Has like a Dragonborn Bard, a green Dragonborn that's playing a mandolin or a lute. Paint job on this is actually pretty good. I like the detail work on the necklace. I think it looks good. The teeth leaves a little bit to be desired. The eyes are really well done though. Slight dry brushing, a little bit of shade on the white really helps it pop. I wish there was a little bit more shade on the vest that he's wearing. And I like the fact that he's like bare chest in it. True Bard. Really cool mini though. 4350 is, I think, in the realm of being a rare, which I think would be our first rare if I recall, but I'll have to double check that in my spare time. But yeah, great to use as a Dragonborn Bard. Have it just in a tavern. If you have like a tavern that you have set up, you can have a creature like this just kind of on the stage. And if you're setting up something for like some kind of brawl, it could be a mini that just stays on the stage and plays music. So it's really cool. Glad I have it. Number 4350, the Bard. And really cool that they're basing some of these minis off of some other artwork that they've had commissioned. So I'll have to see who the artist for that was, because I actually really like that piece. All right. The last small of the set is a doozy. My goodness. I also just dealt with some of these creatures in my home game. But we have number 17 of 50, the Deep Gnome, the Svervlefblin. Rather bendy trident. It's very weird that a creature in the Underdark would have a trident like this. Maybe this is a Deep Gnome that's a pirate or sails the open seas. Really well done on the paint job. I like the glossy bits of it. You definitely put a little bit too much brown on the shield on the back, because I can see that there was supposed to be detail there and there's not. But really, other than that, I think it looks pretty good. There's a lot of motifs that are kept throughout the entire mini itself. I'm a proud FSU alum, so garnet and gold are those are the colors I bleed. And this has a lot of like deep reds, garnets, and probably not gold but brass, but it still looks gold. So I'm a big fan of this. The hair is well done. The face looks well done, and the detail work on kind of the stuff in this person's belt is very well done as well. So fun mini to have. Deep Gnomes are great. If you've never read the lore on them, please do. They're awesome. They're really cool. They're one of my favorite races. So yeah, 17 of 50, the Deep Gnome, just a generic Deep Gnome, although this is far from a generic mini. So all right, on to the large of box number 5. I was very happy to get this because it's a creature that I will probably use at some point for a very specific thing. Hopefully none of my players are watching this, but if they are, you know what you're about to come up against. This is number 34 of 50, the Retriever. Now, I love this. It is basically just a mechanical spider that is sent to go retrieve something that's been taken or lost. And while I do wish that there was some shade on this, like an oiled look, I think that it is a gorgeous mini. I love the dynamic aspect of it. I love these bases that they've added into it to kind of show that it's lifted up off the ground. All of the legs are kind of in weird, awkward positions. I'm sure over time, if you were to take it in hot water and douse it, it would get into a better position. But like the fact that it's got these two front legs up is very reminiscent of what an actual spider would do if it were threatened, which again, if you're throwing something that is a monster on the table, you want it to look like it's going to attack or threaten the party. So having the movement and motion of the mini captured in this frozen kind of spot in time is really, really cool. I love this mini. I think that it is absolutely incredible. I love it as a creature. If you haven't looked it up, please do. It is a lot stronger than you think it is just looking at it. So super, super happy with that. That's the large of box number 5, and that's number 3450, the Retriever. All right, we are officially into the second half. Go ahead and open box number 6. We're starting to get into the heavier ones, which is great. I'm so excited. That means there's going to be some chunky boys coming up. They didn't do super boosters in this set, which is okay. I like the super booster idea from the Fizzbands. I just don't know if I would spend $40 on a booster, super booster itself. I think it was meant to be so that you would go in and buy a brick. I think it's a great idea for those who like bricks. Some of them I don't think I would have spent $40 on the mini itself, but we just have regular boxes in this set. And we're on to numero 6. Okay. I know the large in this set. Not well, but well enough to talk on it slightly. Sorry for the sound. Again, I'm just trying to keep tidy as I'm going along. It's going to help with the cleanup afterwards. All right, we have another duplicate in this set. I think we actually have multiple duplicates in this set. Let me just double check, actually. This one looks, I think, like one that we had, but I don't think it is. Yeah. So far, it looks like one duplicate. Yep. We're going to start with the duplicate first. Get it out of the way. And then go ahead and jump into the other ones. So our second duplicate, I think, is also a pretty common one. Actually, no, this might be an uncommon. Which is pretty cool. We have number 16 of 50, the Orc again. And everything I said about the last one, I say about this one as well. This one looks to be a little less focused on the detail of the paint. Doesn't look similar to the other one, especially the bandit like shade does not look the same at all. It just looks like they took a black and just painted over the eyes, but still pretty cool. Good to have a bunch of them. Again, you can just have them as bandits to use on the side of the road, not because they're orcs, but because they literally look like bandits. But still pretty cool mini. 16 of 50 dupe number 2, which is the Orc, bog standard Orc. All right, our next small in this set, and this one is small, is number 8 of 50, the Darrow Savant. Another Underdark creature. I did not realize those were mushrooms. That is so cool. They're like turkey heads. I think that's what they're called. Turkey head mushrooms. Darrow are really cool. They're very similar. They're almost like a mix between a Dwergar and a Deep Gnome. Mischievous creatures, and I have quite a few just regular Darrow. I think also with a differently looking Darrow. But yeah, it's always cool to have more of a creature type. Having some differing pieces to put on a table, especially when you know that they all look different, is actually a really cool thing to do. So I love this mini. I think it's really good. The paint job's relatively good. I would have wished for a little bit more, like maybe like a light brown on the outskirts, unless there is. No, a little bit more of a light brown on the outskirts of the mushrooms to kind of lead me into knowing that they're mushrooms. But still a pretty cool mini. Pretty cool to have like a Myconid village that has a Darrow like shaman or something. That'd be pretty cool. Maybe I'll do that. Who knows? But that's number 8 of 50, the Darrow Savant. All right, the last medium / small of this box set is number 38 of 50, the Drow Matron Mother. Drow are really cool. I think there's a lot to appreciate about how they're built culturally. Obviously, there are some things that are insensitive when it comes to their culture. as a fantasy race, but I think that they are a very cool race altogether. And this is a great mini to represent that. There is a very slight detail on the chest plate that is like a webbing in the breastplate, which I think is absolutely so cool. There is dry brushing on the armor top, which I love. The staff was really cool. It's got a spider on the top of it. The purples added in are absolutely gorgeous. The kind of not stereotypical, just like bleh, it's purple. They have purple skin, but kind of like a soft gray skin tone is actually really nice. I love the armor aspect of it. This could be used as a really anything. You could probably cut off the top spider piece and make this like an Echo Knight, or just make it like a Drow warrior. But yeah, all in all, really cool mini, really well done. I love the paint job on it. Again, there's some small things to be hoped for and left for kind of consideration when it comes to the paint job, but overall pretty happy with it. That's number 38 of 50, the Drow Matron Mother. Yeah, that's a cool mini. All right, the large of this set is number 33 of 50, Orthon. Really cool mini. I've seen these creatures in the monster manual, or I think they were in Tome of Foes, because I think it's a fiendish creature in nature. But it's just cool looking. Like, there's no two ways about it. It's a really cool looking miniature. There's some paint overlap in some areas that I wish there wasn't. And the skin could definitely be a little better done. But I mean, overall, it's a pretty cool mini. I love the color of the cape. That like deep purple is just such a good color, and it goes really well with like dark bronze, because bronze and red go absolutely gorgeous together, and kind of deep bronze kind of hints at that like dark purplish color, so it goes really well with that. I love the crossbow, the heavy crossbow that's holding with one hand. I mean, this is a beefy creature. This is something you do not want to mess with. You can definitely tell by the way that it looks. It is a bit stationary. The movement on the mini isn't as present in this one, but I think it's threatening just the way that it looks, so it kind of balances itself out. But really cool mini, fun to have in the armoire, and yeah, just really cool. But that's number 33 of 50, the Orthon. So far, so good. We're in the last quarter of this brick. Box number 7. 7 boxes. My goodness. Hope that you guys are still around and are enjoying this very long review. But let's see what we got. I don't know what you are, just looking at you, but that's not a bad thing. All right. Creature number 1, creature number 2, creature number 3, and the large. Sorry for the sound. Ooh. Is pretty big. A pretty big large. All right, who are we going with first? Let's make sure we don't have any duplicates. We don't. This is a new box set. This is a new set that we haven't seen before. We'll start with the smallest, just because I want to. We've got number 7 of 50, Cranium Rats. Cranium Rats are really cool. They're, I think, a very underutilized creature when it comes to any like illithid that are in your campaign. They have a staggering ability when they're in a swarm of just rats. But I don't have a lot of rat swarms, and I actually I think I have another swarm of cranium rats, but this one is definitely much better than the other one. You can actually see the brains on the top, which is kind of the go-to for what cranium rats are. You can see their eyes, which is really, really cool. Differentiating between the tail and the fur itself. Very well done paint job for something relatively small. I, as a miniature painter, gripe a lot about painting small things, and this is relatively well done for how small it is. And knowing that it's mass produced makes it just that much more special. So, which sounds oxymoronic, but I'm being quite honest. But yeah, really, really cool miniature, and fun to have. Should I have the need for 2 swarms of cranium rats? But that's number 7 of 50 cranium rats. Cool mini, man. I love the minis in this set. I might get another brick of this outside and just do my own thing with them. All right, this is a mini that I do not have, and I'm glad that they're doing more of these because I love creatures like this. I cannot read what that says, unfortunately, because it's been wiped off. So I don't know what number this is. I think it's 5 out of 50. It's 5 out of 50, I think. I'll double check and I'll put the right number on the video. But for now, it's 5 of 50, and it is the Canoloth. Now, all of the Loth creatures, Yugoloths, Arcanoloths, Canoloths, I love them. I think they're cool fiends. They come from a very specific plane of existence. And these creatures are gnarly. If you've never looked at the stat block for them, please do, because they are absolutely crazy. The paint job on this is actually very well done. I like the differentiation of color between the body, the armor that it has, the teeth, the mouth, and the tongue, which is kind of the statement piece of what a Canoloth is. Really cool creatures. I've had these in my games before. They are not to be trifled with. Definitely a higher level party thing to run into, and really fun when you have more than one of them, because they, if I recall correctly, they inhibit your ability to shift planar wise or teleport in any way. That's kind of their whole shtick. They're like search dogs. They go out and they look for things and make sure that they can't leave. So really, really, really cool creature. Great mini. I'll let you know what number it is when I see it later. But for now, I think it's going to be 5 of 50, the Canoloth. So happy with these minis so far. Make sure that that's right. Oh, one of the creatures that got added into one of the 2 creatures that got added into Monsters of the Multiverse. I don't know if I'm ever going to use this, but I think it's a really cool mini, and it's actually really well painted. Number 21 of 50. So long and thanks for all the fish. The Dolphin Delighter. Space dolphins, basically. Or more happy than normal dolphins. As for the miniature itself, I love the water feature on this. I think it looks absolutely incredible. The mini itself, I actually like. It definitely looks like someone just took a paintbrush and was like, ooh, yeah, shade. But I think the color, it works very well. I appreciate the fact that the carvings on it are deep enough to where you can actually see them. And I think it just looks really, really cool. Again, I don't know if I'm ever going to use this creature at all. But you never know. Your druid might want to shift into a dolphin one day, and you'll be happy to have this. So that's number 21 of 50, the Dolphin Delighter. God, that's so funny. I thought it was a water elemental at first, and then I saw it and I was like, oh, that's definitely not a water elemental. All right. So for the large of this set, I have no idea what this creature is, but it's number 47 of 50, which definitely qualifies as a rare or an ultra rare. I don't remember what the specifics are on it, but it is Mollydeus, which might be like a brother or cousin of Asmodeus. The miniature itself is actually very, very interesting and pretty well painted. The grotesque kind of glaive that it has, the really, really There Is No Dana, Only Zool shoulder pauldron that has like a dragon coming out of it is really, really cool. I love the differentiation in the colors for the skin versus like the head versus the tail versus the dragon. Like, it's actually a really well painted mini. There's like very small detail in the glaive itself that almost makes it look like it's alive in some way. Same thing for the belt that it's wearing. Just a really, really cool mini. Again, I have no idea what this creature is. I'll have to look it up afterwards. And if you have any clue, please in the comments let me know. I probably would use it as like a really souped up werewolf that like is a Tiamat paladin or something and has like a dragon scale glaive and like has a like a dragon growing out of its back as like a boon or something. That's a crazy thing. It's a fantasy game, so you can do whatever you want. Like I said earlier, you can literally do whatever you want. But a really cool mini. I actually, again, although I don't know what this is specifically, I do kind of like it. I think it looks really, really cool. And definitely a creature that will in some way, shape, or form get used at my table. So as number 47 of 50, Mollydeus or Mollidius or Mollydeus. I don't know. I'll have to look it up. And if you know, throw it in the comment section, please. All right. We are at the final box, the heaviest box of the bunch, which hopefully bears good news for me. But I guess we'll find out. Out of all the stuff on the box set, I keep saying that. The boxes have miniatures on them to give you an idea of what you might get. And so far we've gotten 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 out of 8. The one on the back is the Neolithid, which is the premium mini for this set. But box 8, here we go. Heaviest box. Oh, cool mini. Hopefully you guys can't see it on the... Ooh. Couple cool ones. Make sure we didn't get any dupes. We have one duplicate in this one. Singularo duplicate. We'll get that one out of the way first. Third duplicate of the brick, which isn't that bad. Like I was saying earlier, I definitely want more than one of these. But it's number 12 of 50, the Zvart. Very similar to the other one. Paint job's relatively well done. And like I said just a second ago, having multiple of these is a really good thing. So I'm glad that I got a secondary one. And that's number 1250, the Zvart. Let's get into these minis. They look so pretty. My goodness. All right. Number 2450, the Dwergar Warlord. Again, you can never have enough different types of the same creature, and this is no different. We got 3 Dwergar in this, and I'm very happy about that. This is the Warlord, which has a pretty nasty maul. Pretty well painted. It is silver or steel colored because it's wearing mostly armor, but it looks really good. The face, even though it's barely able to be seen, actually has really good detail on it. That top headpiece actually has pretty good detail on it too. Well painted mini, really good addition to the set. I'm very happy with that. Yeah, like I said, you can never have too much of a single creature. I will preach it till the day I die. And this is no different. So very happy to have a Dwergar Warlord for our Dwergar Soul Knife and bog standard Dwergar. But that's number 2450. Good old Dwergar Warlord. All right, final medium creature of this brick is a pretty cool looking one. Now that's number 15 of 50. Standard, no additions to it, but it is an Azamar. Gorgeous mini. I mean, The beautiful translucent wings that come out of the back have given me an idea that maybe I should make translucent wings for some of the minis that I print and paint. The detail on the face is actually pretty well done. Um, and the staff has that kind of orb in the top that is the same color. That it looks really, really cool. I love the new wings that they've been adding on a lot of them. We got the Were Raven with the last one, I think, that just looks absolutely incredible. The wings on this one are also no joke. I actually just picked up some translucent red resin, so I might do something like this just for funsies because I think it looks really, really cool. But Aasimar are half celestial. They're kind of like the opposite end of the spectrum of tieflings. Although technically speaking, any deity is a celestial, so you could have an Aasimar who is a Aasimar who has a ancestor from the lower planes, even though most of them would be considered fiends. But it's a really well done mini. Again, it's very easy to screw up the simplest of paint jobs, but this is not one of them. This is a very, very well done mini. I'm very happy with this. But that's number 15 of 50, the Aasimar. So cool. All right. So I think we've finally broken our luck with getting the 50th or the most rare of the most rares of bricks. But I'm not upset about it. I'll have to look at some of the other ones that are in the set to see what we missed. I know we missed the Gaunt. We missed some more Sorrowsworn, some more Abishai's, Blackguard, stuff like that. But the final mini of this brick is number 36 of 50, the female Steeder, which is basically just a ginormous pack mule spider, ridden by a dwarf or a dwergar, or really anyone who wants to use them as a creature. Paint job in this is actually very, very well done. There's an ombre to the body of it that just looks really, really, really good. The dwarf that's currently riding, it looks really, really good. It's carrying a lot of different materials. It's just a beautifully done mini. I mean, there's like beautiful texture to the canvases on the back because there's dry brushing. Again, dry brushing minis that make it look incredible. But honestly, this is a great mini. That ombre effect is just absolutely gorgeous. And you don't have to use creatures like this ever, but I mean, why wouldn't you? A wandering merchant who's riding a giant spider, that story writes itself. So that is number 36 of 50, the female Steeder, and the final mini of this set, which means that it is time for me to go through our least best list and close out. So we are going to bad news first. We're going to start with the least favorite and least useful. The two categories are least like worst paint job basically and least useful. So we're going to start with the worst paint job. And honestly, out of all of them, the Drow Arachnomancer just leaves a lot to be desired on a painting aspect. I really wish that they had done a little bit more with the color on it. I think it would have looked a lot better if it had a little bit more oomph to it. But I think all of these minis are going to be used, but definitely that one is probably the worst paint job. Now, the least useful is hard to say, because all of them are technically useful in a way. But I would say the one that probably would never be used, or at least would be used very rarely, or has probably the least replay value. I love you, bud, but the Quetzalcoatlus, I just don't think has a lot of value. A lot of people don't put dinosaurs in their game because it can tend to break the game, especially if you have like a T-Rex that gets thrown into your game. not always the most fun when you have a party member that can turn into a T-Rex. Comes a little bit overpowered very quickly. But I just don't see myself getting a lot of use out of this one. And that's not a bad thing. It might get used at some point, but we'll have to see. So that's definitely the least useful one. Now, best paint job. Now into the best version. I have to give the best paint job to the female steeder. I mean, the ombre effect on the I recently learned that spiders technically don't have thoraxes. They have a specific name for them, but I can't remember it. The body of the female steeder just is painted unbelievably well. The overall paint job on it is just like I would pay probably a good $12 to $15 for a mini like this if I needed one, because it's just painted very well. And that's the thing, is like you're gonna get a lot of value out of minis like this, Wizkids. If you're watching these videos, you're gonna get a lot of value out of minis like this. The more paint jobs that are like this, the better things are going to be for us, the consumer, and for you, the seller. So this is definitely the best paint job out of the group, and it's one of those things that when you have a good paint job, people are going to want to put that on the table. So I will find a way to put this on the table, I promise. All right. Oh, most useful mini out of this set. I don't think there's one that is most useful. I honestly think if I'm going to have to pick a grouping, which I'm going to, it's the humanoids. The orc, the dwergar, the bugbear, the deep gnome, the zvart, the drow, the changeling. All of the humanoids, I think, are the most useful out of this set. I think that you have done a great job at expanding a lot of what can be in miniatures that you sell that are pre-painted. I think this is just absolutely great. One of the best things I've ever learned was from a friend of mine is if you're going to buy minis where the commons are useful. And this is one of those situations, because they can be used for anything. They don't have to be used for just what they are. They can be used as regular drow. They can be used as regular dwergar. They can be used as, regular orcs, regular changelings, regular Azmar, really anything. And that's the beauty of minis like that. I think those are definitely the most useful out of the set, and I really like seeing more creatures like that be made and painted for us to use at our table. So that is the brick. I don't really have a favorite out of the set because, again, I just like all of them. I think it's hard to pick. I like the expansion of the monster manual and adding minis to our set. So thank you, Wizkids. Continue to listen to the people who buy your minis and continue to make amazing paint jobs and products. Few things that probably could be done better, but I don't work there, so I can't make that decision. And I don't even seem or want to make it seem like I'm qualified to make those decisions either. But that's my honest review. I hope you enjoyed this next rendition of Brick by Brick. I really appreciate you guys sticking around and hanging out. You probably have skipped through it, but hopefully you have enjoyed what you've seen. These videos seem to be doing pretty well, so thank you guys so much for continuing to support the channel. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. It really helps me out and helps me kind of get oomph and gusto for doing more of these. So I'd appreciate it if you did that. Thank you guys again for sticking around, hanging out. And as always, we'll continue to do this brick by brick. Thanks, guys. Hope you have a great night.